bring to the stage, he's incredible. He's so tall and handsome, and I can't talk about him enough. I mean, he's just, he's all man, he's no machine, He's just, he's bigger than life. I'm kidding, I'm talking about myself, it's ridiculous. Everybody else is sat there.
I thought you were talking about me.
Oh, you're going to come back up? Please do, sir. I got excited about being able to perform with the Avenue just like right behind me as a backdrop. I got excited about it. And so because of that excitement, I became this weird ambassador of this little stretch of seceded land that we have, that for us is just property, really. But to me, it's like there's a history here. There's even beyond me. You go down the avenue at the theater down there, and I knew that as like a porn theater, just right over there, just right there, just a porn theater. And
any porn references at me now?
Yep. All of the readers today, please address any porn references to Mr. Brings Plenty. And so, but there's more than that. There's more than that. And it was theater before that. They showed actual films. And so I thought about this area, and I thought about what it means to speak from it. And so the pieces that I'm going to share, they're that. This one is called 2477 365. A community of children, sacred gift of great mystery, we fail you. Sewn together, we are a neighborhood of neglected patchwork that warns no one. New news trickling in. More gray suns become food for the machine. Grinded out into prison cell-shaped patties, these naturals of the club where mob is distorted into radioactive comfort food. These are Icarus children who burned too bright as they fell through cracks in social service while falling through the cracks of their families. A community now swims away from their creation. Ashamed of our shared truth, crabs in a barrel can never see sons, nephews, dads, or uncles. No one can see these men searching for the star path to a home under clouded sky. These men and I, we run parallel in a neighborhood that spits out stats and myth. Sons of the trickster, we are lost and rage-filled lessons that no one seems to be learning from. We now follow in line into a darkness named double-edged sword. Just give me a second. I'm just one more Angry Bird. That's it. One more. I promise. I think about the show in here, and I think about the last couple years of like people around my generation speaking back to the images that are our stereotype. These images that were created from our oppression, they speak louder than we do sometimes. Baking soda, football teams, paint. These images are constant. And so for me growing up, I was lucky. I was in youth programs on the Ave here, so I was constantly reinforced with you're strong, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're Indian, you're good. Those things aren't you. And so for me to be able to be in a room filled with other artists that are speaking to these same things, it's incredible. I'm in awe. And so I wrote a piece that kind of talks about that. It's called Redoubted. And I really feel like speaking to these things are important. Because if we don't speak to these things, then we don't fight against the constant imagery, the Pocahontas, or Tiger Lily. We don't speak to these images for people that hold them close to their hearts, because the Don Drapers of the world are constantly getting them to love our negative and positive stereotypes. Don't act like you didn't see me coming. I'm kind of hard to miss. Probably thought they could get away with something hypersonic. But see, baby, I'm Quicksilver. I'm the caramel-skinned, sugary sweet gingerbread man. And you're a monster! See, this one just happened to meet me in the middle of a victory lap. Dead center in a celebration of the down, brown, and beautiful variety. And this kid from a park nicknamed Cockroach cannot, will not let slip talk slip by. This one sees passive-aggressive, indirect, unresponsive perspective and is way, way too familiar. Know that I have planted my sash in the ground and have been waiting to count coup on these abusive avian albinos for 150 years. But they won't get the reference. Because maybe this urban res rocket is moving way too fast. Maybe this someone is channeling Drew Barrymore. And the rest of these country crack thin, I was being ironically racist way before Juliette Lewis was, hipsters in headdress. Pretending she can't figure out why people are upset she was photographed wearing an apron from the King of Beers while also sporting plumage of my particular commercialized nightmare. What lily in the flower shop can't understand basic cultural context, let alone its potency? But see, baby, I bet they're catching on now. Maybe we are tired of swimming in a sea of dishonor and disrespect, sailing to an ebb and flow of appropriation that spans centuries. We have been drowning in first world waters since the first boats arrived, becoming masters at hunting whales of this kind, using the hollowed out hulls of our decimated language and cultures. Help us to rebuild a ship made by our ancestors. Work with us to destroy images that lock us into a made-up history. Know that I am trying to dance Mr. Dynamite style away from a prairie full of feathery, neon-colored cartoons, but it's rough. This cape routine, it's tired. And all the purple and pink feathers from my generic-y headdress have fallen off. I forgot the lyrics to Pretendian, the musical. And this leather-colored minstrel suit is too tight. And these meek amount of sequins left, well, they're just holding on for dear life. See, this one sees that not acknowledging our own ethnocentrism is like the Occupy movement, not acknowledging that what they're occupying, well, that's already being illegally occupied. See, this one doesn't buy it. When the University of North Dakota or the University of Illinois said, well, we had to keep using the decapitated head of an Indian male as our logo. It was the law. Probably thought they could shock, pushing a breathing apparatus of fear and a red lightsaber of hate. But I will not be frozen in carbonite stereotype. And these are not the Indians you're looking for. That's as tough as I get behind the microphone. Just want to let everybody know that. You can come visit me later. I was going to perform at the First Nations Composer Institute's show. It was going to be awesome. I had 60 seconds. It was going to be amazing. I was going to blow everyone that came there away with 60 seconds. It was going to be awesome. You don't even know. I had planned the fireworks. It was going to be awesome. It was going to be like the longest 60 seconds of anyone's life. I'm not kidding. So what I did in response to not being able to do that performance, and not being able to tease Joy Harjo on stage in front of millions, was I created a bunch of 60-second poems. Because, in that space, I can be naughty as hell, really. So that's what I did. 60 seconds that never was. The sun setting, shining through the branches of the trees at the end of winter. Will you call me this when I'm so old that my feet no longer touch the floor? When what's left of my diabetic soul is too honeyed to cut with lemon and tea? Will you call me in my language and whisper sweetly to me when I'm crying in the shower or something I saw on a late night infomercial that reminded me of Stephanie May? Will you tell me stories like when I was a young guy, hands on face, staring into the night in our Anoka apartment ceiling? Will you remember to call me husband when you are too old to remember who I am? Will you tell me I'm handsome after they amputate both my legs? Will we call to each other in the night, during the day, when all that's left of each of us is a shadow on the picnic table? So that got me thinking, I mean, there's a great opportunity here on the Ave. It's a really great time. I really think that. There's incredible artists of every medium, really. I mean, it's phenomenal. Sometimes I'm in awe of it, and it engulfs me, and I can't even think. I mean, there's just so much being created right now, even in the Twin Cities here. It's overflowing with Indigenous voice, and I'm just excited. So I wrote a poem about if I was the chairman of the Twin Cities, if they elected me, if Mille Lacs bought all the hotels and then it bought all the land, and then they elected me chairman of here. This is the poem that I wrote for it. Fly every legendary Indigenous artist here to perform. Put the list online and have people vote on who's coming and when. Coordinate with the other chairs, Indian student orgs, hotshot EDs, activists, pacifists, and the Aimsters. We'd come together like we do when blue moons break out over this urban electric res. St. Paul lodging and Minneapolis meals would be all set up far and way in advance. We'd take over all my other meetings talking about the next performance. We'd wait at the airport with signs and wave at the Indians whose stories make us stronger. We'd round dance on the tarmac and make everyone else late for some other adventure. So, I want to call her photographer, but she's kind of super amazing. She does a bunch of other stuff, But her name is Alyssa Macy, and she's incredible. You can Google her. Her Google page looks way awesomer than mine. I mean, she's awesome. And she asked a question one day, and I really like that. I really like to be on Facebook because I'm nosy and Indian, and everybody's drama's out there, and I'm like, oh, no way! Every day. It's awesome. I really like all my friends. I really do. I love your stories. And so she asked that. And sometimes I'll see a question on there, and then all of a sudden I'll just see a poem. Just like that. I'll just see it. It'll just go quick. And so this is that moment. She said, "What are you afraid of?" And she just left it like that. And so I wrote it. And this one is called High Plains Drifter Pugilism. If I were not afraid, I'd brass dance to the center of my neighborhood. On the way, I'd say hi to all my neighbors, chuck deuces at all the gangsters, and Top Gun high five every last one of the hustlers. On down the avenue, I'd spin and spin, a flailing mix of smiles and chaos. If I were not afraid, I'd stop and go to the home of my heart. When I got there, I'd say goodbye to all the lost smiles and chaos, buried under old wood boxes, above and below Birdwoman's Lake. I'd hug sisters and brothers that are hours and infinities away. If I were not afraid, I'd listen to stories that take days to tell. I'd get teased every way possible until I took off this poetry flint knife that I've been sharpening And then I'd pick up a wit that the Nuita had been slinging as if high plains drifter pugilism was our religion. If I were not afraid, when I got to the center of my neighborhood, when I could swim as close to ancestors who were a part of our third displacement, I'd look up to the sky world, thank all that is for this day and every day before. Then I'd fly. I just want to do that one time. That's it. I won't do that anymore. Twice, that's it. 2 times. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. So, I have friends that like to paint on stuff. And it's not necessarily like canvas all the time. They'll like draw on like notepad or on their fingernails or on walls that they're not supposed to. I mean, they see something and then they draw it. They're awesome, and I really like the collaboration that I've been getting from the artists in the community. I mean, there's been a give and take, and it's been really, really incredible. And so these pieces these next 2 are directed towards these collaborations. The block is the smallest universe amongst the larger, more well-known universes. Our intergalactic ambassadors wait on either side of our corridor, asking you to change one cardboard sign at a time. This block that's yours and mine's was featured on National Geographic in the late 60s and early 70s. Our seceded mindset was followed by all the best trackers in all the best places, by all the best people of Nat Geo. From our rise to trip and fall, they have been archiving our ebb and flow while our flow goes and goes on down the muddy Mississippi. This block was ground zero when they put all the matchsticks together and tried to break them all. This block is where we learned one Indian weak, many Indian strong. And since then, well shit, it's been on and on to the break of dawn. I'm sorry that I swore, but I'm only sorry to one of you, and I'll tell which one of you who I'm sorry to later. It all just fades away. World of crazy, imploding Indians, and the storm of everyone's century. All of it melts into a boiling pot of steam and haze. See, Mr. Wizard has begun a descent into a volume bound in Count Chocula and Frankenberry boxes. Stories you've never heard. An adventure that no one will believe. This is a continuing saga, and when called, man, I can't do anything else but answer. Come, sit close to an old friend and warm yourself by the ember of his memory. The cold fusion of the seasons change is upon us, and you can't wait to hear about the time Big Word Mom smoked an undead fairy for a literary feast. It was nothing, she said. Just a preoccupation, my dear. Eat up. Edge of your seat as you listen so hard you don't know your eyes are closed. Imagine the color of childhood footy pajamas as I retell how Coyote wooed 50 buffalo down Franklin Avenue with nothing but her bike, a hand drum, and a determination that could eat through 5,000 pieces of fry bread. These are cherished tales that greet me informally as I pull up to this table. When I sit down in front of this computer, it's all I remember. When the furnace goes out, and I can't help but shiver to keep the fire within stoked, it's all I want to tell you. Come and hear it before I become the same granite history that sits crossed arms at the bottom of Powderhorn Lake. Swim down to murky, muddy base where snapping turtle still hides from the trickster. We look up to greenish, brown, blurry future as it all just fades away. So I like the internet too. I mean, if you're my friend on the internet, then you know that I heart the internet so hard that a couple times I broke it. And I really like my cousins from the res, their posts, because they're just really random. I mean, it's beyond like kitties and stuff. It's just, I mean, sometimes it's really cool stuff, and other times I'm just like, oh! But like one of my cousins, Caleb, he posted this video of these this dance-off in Newtown, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like the song or the two guys dancing, but it just pushed words out of me. I mean, I just really liked it. It was really awesome. So this is that. This is my response to a YouTube video that I saw of two Indians dancing, not bears or kitties or anything. They're dancing for a title of greatest Indian of all time. I wonder how long to just sit here and do this to you.
You're turning me on, dude.
Inappropriate. All right, here we go. This here is pure vicious. Every step, a tussle so raw and uncontainable, it was made illegal. In my heart and brain, there is no other dance fight that can compare, and none try. You can't tally dedication to any wall of champions, but you can see hours spent to become better than legend. Hands are sweaty watching from the internet. It's edge of the couch cushion when I see one rooster glide. No, shimmy slide to the end of the beat. I see this, and I lose my savage red mind ignobly. Better than a movie action scene, battle in an arena surrounded by relatives named after leaders of retold glory. In place of a heart, these two will rush the crimson gift right through me just fine. One more? 7 more?
Another 60-second poll?
Yeah, I got one. Charles Bukowski said, a poem is a city at war. Well, my friend John said that, and then he posted to the internet, and then I was like, what? Boy, I need to see that. And it was a really cool video of this movie called Fat Totem that he constantly is telling me about. I don't think that he remembers that he's told me about this movie like 6 times, and it's been filmed here. And we drove around one day, and we saw all the different places that it was filmed. And then I thought to myself, well, he's going to do it again. All right, well, I'm going to hit him with something magic. And so this is that, really. For Mr. J, a poem is a city at war. Charles Bukowski. A poem is an old drunk pretending to be another drunk while looking out into a city that hates and fears it. A poem is Batman and every last one of the X-Men, all in one nasty 3-clawed batarang pull. A poem is spraying Aquanet into a piece of bread that sits over a glass jar as a filter. A poem is the cherry Kool-Aid you add into your filtered hairspray underneath the Franklin Bridge at a place where only the buffalo roam. A poem is wanting what no one will give you. A poem is the sickest and depraved arch-nemesis who flip marked coins to tell your future and release nerve gas to put a smile on your face. A poem is the last phone call from the newest center of your universe who tells you to put down that jug and pick up a paintbrush. A poem is the blood that flows through my veins, pulses out to leave a trail back to my wicked history. A poem, my friend? You have no idea what a poem is, but you're caged in one of the most epic ones I've ever read. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.